Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. Today I will be reviewing Reserve Rights, RSR. This is a very popular coin in general and has a great community. I personally do not own a bag of this, but it's an interesting coin to watch and people really love this coin. So let's just get to it. I will be reviewing just the technicals only, not any fundamental analysis, but the chart on Huobi was the chart that has more price history than Binance. So what did we see here? This was basically born in the altcoin bear market. Price basically just ran down from the summer of 2019, and this was really just like a really painful time for altcoins. Nothing to really say about this. It's just like a prolonged downturn. And it's interesting to see this slow grind down, and then you saw this kind of capitulation candle here on the weekly. And when you see big moves like this, it usually means that the end is near, either in an uptrend or in a downtrend. And Bitcoin had this big nuke around the $6,000 mark in 2018, and this is kind of similar to that. So when you see a big sell candle with accompanying volume, usually the end is near for the downtrend. So what do we see here? We saw that big downtrend. We saw short accumulation, and around the winter time of 2019, this one really pumped. And this was very, this is kind of common the last 4 years. You know, we've seen altcoins pump very strongly in 2017, 2018, 2019, and 2020 in the winter. And this was no different. So run up, obviously this is the COVID special where price nuked down, and price kind of followed Bitcoin in the sense that it just kept going higher all throughout the summer. Now RSR had a big run all throughout the summer. This is decentralized finance summer in August of 2020. So around 025 or so. This was the big blow off top here. And you can see it looks better on the daily here. This is the weekly close right here. But generally speaking, market tops, they're always easier to find in hindsight, of course, than when you're actually experiencing them real time. But you can basically see big impulse candle, and usually market tops are always, they have a lot of volatility. So you see huge spikes in both directions. You generally see some ugly candle closes, and you'll start to see some sell volume creep in too. Like, you know, this sell volume here was big, but it wasn't massive. Usually at market tops you'll see bigger sell volume, but when you start to see more sell volume basically piling in, a good time to exit is on the first bounce. So you'll see price do something like this, huge blow off top, distribution, and then when it starts to come down, that's when you kind of know the trend is starting to end. Usually price will give some sort of relief bounce before heading lower, and you can kind of see that in a lot of coins. It'll have like a chart similar to this. So what did we see here? We saw price basically go all the way back down all throughout the fall. RSR held up better than other coins did in the USD pair. It didn't quite pull back like YFI for the other decentralized finance coins, but it still pulled back quite a bit. It kind of had this weird vertical accumulation, and it accumulated more here in November and all the way to January. First big run, accumulation, and then it had a massive nosedive as altcoins kind of all pulled back collectively through February, most of them. And now it's going back up. This overall trend still is very bullish in my opinion. You're still seeing higher highs, higher lows. I mean, you're seeing these lows hold overall, and these are just creating higher lows all throughout. Now, do I think this trend is getting close to an end? I personally do not see that quite yet. I mean, this right here, this price action is a little scary, I will admit, but the overall collective volume is still it's still lower than before on the big pullback, which is kind of interesting to view. But right now, this is still undeniably bullish. I mean, you can't argue bear market quite yet. Distribution generally takes time. Like, you know, this right here took several days to kind of resolve itself, and I expect to see something similar for RSR. I mean 10 cents might be like a good psychological level. It might hit up there and then start to distribute and then come back down. But the trend is still undeniably bullish. I think that this coin will somewhat follow BTC. If Bitcoin starts to dump big, then I expect RSR and all altcoins to also do the same. But I still am of the belief that this coin will go higher, given the community and given the overall chart itself. So what are my targets here? I am probably going to do a fib extension to where we can kind of see some targets here. 09 cents or 9 cents looks like a decent target. 096 also looks like the next one up, and then this will be a significant level in my opinion. Like this kind of 10 cent area will have some psychological resistance in my opinion. But this is like an fib extension that I would personally use myself, and it's actually interesting too if you look at this fib extension, like price has been respecting these levels. So in my opinion, this is valid, and 10 cents is kind of where I would look to assume there's going to be some resistance. Now, let's assume that Bitcoin does go bad and price starts to pull back a lot. There is going to be support. There is support, kind of like this chart is very choppy too. Like I would not trade this one personally with leverage. It looks very choppy in general. This would be like a swing position for me. And personally, like in terms of overall bullishness, RSR still really hasn't done a whole lot relative to some of the other altcoins. It's been somewhat disappointing given the strong community. This isn't FUD, or this isn't me like shitting on this coin. It's just saying that for as strong of a community as RSR has, I would expect it to actually move harder. But it is what it is. I mean, this is still like pretty good. There is like some sell volume coming in, which is never really good to see. But overall, the trend is still bullish. You can't deny that. So what kind of areas would I target if I were to buy dips? I would basically look. This right here, this 068 area would be somewhat aggressive entry in my opinion. And I know it is 10% down. If I were to look there, 064 would also have some support as well. But, you know, these areas have been tapped a few times in recent memory. And if things start to go really bad, then 047 is kind of like the area that I would view for support. So these are like kind of my levels for support if price starts to pull back, and it will depend on what it looks like for price pulling back too. Like you generally don't want to see price go this low to maintain its uptrend in general. And I mean, this was a very deep downtrend itself. I mean, this is what, let's see, yeah, 50% drop all throughout February. And that's like never great to see, but the uptrend is still intact in my opinion on high time frame charts. I mean, if you look on the weekly, then this is still okay. And because price dipped down so much in February, I believe that there is more upside to come. So 10 cents is kind of the area that I'm going to be viewing just from a psychological perspective. And if I were to view entries to buy dips, 073, kind of this 068 and 064 are areas that I would basically view as like the first line of defense. So let's look at RSR BTC. RSR BTC actually looks pretty good right now. obviously had this big run all throughout the decentralized finance summer, which is a little bit not surprising. This is like the same kind of chart that we saw with other altcoins, but then it obviously died down very strongly as Bitcoin kind of was stronger and stronger. And this is very common to see with nearly all BTC charts during this time. I mean, let's look at the dot. This is just comedic right here. This is like several months of just straight pain. Nothing but red candles. You want to look at, you want to experience altcoin pain like that we did in 2018 and 2019. This is like what happened basically all the time, which sucked. But anyways, RSR pulled back all throughout the fall of 2020, and now it is, in my opinion, it's accumulating. So we're seeing this tight range here develop, and all the EMAs are basically just clumping together. Generally speaking, this is like a pretty bullish sign. And you can see the volume profile. I mean, all the volume is really just being collected all throughout, the equilibrium of this range, basically just throughout the middle. So in situations like this, I'm usually very patient with my entry. I would just basically scale in. Can't read that. Is it 134 Satoshis, I think? 135 sats is an aggressive entry, and you can basically just keep holding out for even lower, like 114, 115, maybe even 107 or something like that. Use like the 200 EMA on 4 hour. Price could certainly get there. Like, I would basically just level my entries and just basically wait for a swing trade, and that's personally my style of trading. I would rather just take a bigger position and just dollar cost average in both ways. Like, if it's going up, then I'll buy on the way up. If it's going down, I'll buy on the way down. It just depends on the style of trade that you want to do. As stated before, I wouldn't trade this on leverage with the USD pair personally, but that's just me. But for coins like this, you generally want to just be patient, scale in, and I think that's a better plan than most traders would have versus just, going all in on the first order. In charts like this, you generally want to be patient, and you just want to basically kind of level out your entries and just wait, be patient, and they will come to you. So in terms of the overall upside for this to me looks bullish, and I think this will make another run at least up to the decentralized finance summer. It wouldn't surprise me to see price hit some sort of resistance around this area, the highs that were made in August, and I guess we'll see from there. I mean, we'll see if it can break this area and it will go higher. I mean, we've already had essentially several months of strong altcoin pumps from the USD pairs, but the BTC pairs have not been reflected in that because Bitcoin has been so strong. So personally, I think the second run for altcoins will be with the BTC pairs, but let's just see. So if I were to buy dips, I would just basically look around the 100 Satoshis area, or maybe even, slightly higher than that. But I would just scale in, and I would not FOMO. I wouldn't market buy. This is not the right environment to market buy. This is the right environment to market buy. When you see price blitzing up, or you see in the USD pair, this isn't even really a great chart. I mean, like, let's look at this is the environment to market buy when you see price just going up and up and up and up on Solana. But for this is just, you just scale in and just wait. And there will be an opportunity cost to your money. I'm not sure when price will actually move for this coin, but it could take a week, it could take 2 weeks, it could take a month. I don't know when this will move, but generally, as I said before, when you see all the EMAs clumping together, it's usually a pretty bullish sign. So I personally would just be patient and just wait on RSR. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks.